A man in front of a waterfall, a girl on a horse, a woman on a rock by the sea, a row of men on a boat. These are the photographs taken by a young Danish priest in Iceland and discovered years later that inspired Hlynur Pálmason's Godland. Except these photos never existed, and understanding why this story was invented is key to framing Godland. In the 1870s, Lucas, a young priest, is sent to Iceland to establish a church in a remote area. During this period, Iceland began to agitate for independence from Denmark, reclaiming its distinctive national identity as its people were stifled under Danish rule. This power dynamic is reflected in the film's dual languages. Danish is often used as a tool of oppression and is the official language of religion.
Jeg Lukas. Præsten.
Icelandic, however, is more commonly used for idiom, and in darker moments is used to relay stories of mystical experiences. The title card for the film itself appears twice, in both Danish and Icelandic. Even these titles are somewhat mistranslated. In both cases, the literal translation is closer to wretched land, perhaps more closely reflecting Lucas's point of view on Iceland. Lucas's inability to speak Icelandic and expectation that others should speak Danish isolates him from his group. Alone in the wilderness, his solace is his camera. Lucas's journey across Iceland fits Godland into an established subgenre of films following lonely religious travellers, like Agire, The Wrath of God, or Silence. But Lucas's methodical recording of the people and landscape of Iceland isn't benevolent. He scolds his models and organises them into set positions.
Det her mest naturligt.
Hvad med bare sidde almindeligt?
He's not just recording the country, but ordering its reality to match his own, just as Denmark is imposing its colonial rule on Iceland. The only figure photographed in a completely staged environment is another Danish priest, set against a painted background of a nature scene, in contrast with the Icelandic people who are staged in actual landscapes. This idealised background and rigid posing draws a comparison with the Danish colonial attitude towards Iceland. It's significant that a holy figure from the same cultural heritage as Lucas is identified with an ostensibly objective, completely controlled false reality, as it reflects the priests' joint belief in their worldview's superiority over the Icelandic people. Reflecting this obsession, Pálmason's own camera takes on a deliberately artificial position, often tracking characters laterally. This stately method of recording image is unnatural, a motion viewers are unlikely to perform in their own lives. Events are also frequently seen through objects, the camera maintaining distance from its subjects just as Lucas floats on the periphery of life in the village. Rare moments of naturalistic camera motion are linked to the natural landscape of Iceland itself, a flowing, chaotic underwater sequence from an ambiguous perspective, or Lucas taken in by the majesty of a waterfall. In these moments, the priest's attempts to impose order on the world are defeated by the raw, untamed nature around him, and the film's stately manner breaks apart. While incessantly recording Iceland, Lucas stresses the importance of the unseen to his faith.
Tror du på magi?
Ja.
Så har du faktisk mødt Gud. Men du har ikke set ham før. Han er lidt ligesom magi. Forstår du?
Nej.
Despite this, Lucas displays firm, inflexible beliefs that make him unpalatable to the locals.
Hvorfor kunne du ikke forene de stakkels børn?
Ikke i en halvfærdig kirke.
Local worker Ragnar's experience of faith seems much closer to Lucas's purported non-observable approach, instead finding religion in the skies and lands of his home. Calling back to the film's dual languages and themes around translation, this disconnection between characters' outward ideas and their internal beliefs proves fatal to Lucas's mission. Despite his attempts to understand the world, language itself fails him as a tool to carry meaning.
Våtviðri, væta, hrakkviðri.
Og det er regnvejr det samme.
Ja.
Beslut jer.
Pálmason's most important version of this double language is structural, concealed in the central conceit of Godland, the invented historic background of these photographs. In a film about trying to impose an ordered, objective view on the world via photography, Pálmason pretends to a reality that doesn't exist. In doing so, he prompts the viewer to accept a fictional story as reflecting a real world, just as Lucas stages his photographs to project a perceived order on the world around him. Choosing to frame Iceland in a preconceived way to reflect his colonial attitudes, Lucas's version of reality doesn't fit the actual Iceland he's confronted with. By framing Godland with a purported truth that is revealed to be false, Pálmason invites the viewer to question the historic authenticity of colonial narratives.